She sat there, a woman named Sarah, scrolling on her phone. Across the room, her partner, Liam, held a beautiful bouquet of flowers he had just bought for her. He smiled, a little proud of himself. "Hey," he said, "I got these for you, just because." Sarah barely looked up. She gestured vaguely toward a vase. "Oh, thanks. You can just put them there?" His smile faltered. He placed the flowers in the vase. Sarah sighed, dropped her phone, and looked at him with a tired expression. "I've been asking you for a week to fix the light bulb in the hallway. It's a simple thing. I feel like I'm always the one who has to do everything around here." Liam looked at the flowers, then at the light bulb she was talking about, a mix of confusion and hurt on his face. "But I got you flowers." He thought he was speaking love, but his words were lost in translation. She was speaking in the language of a light bulb fixed, a small act of service that would have felt like a monumental act of care. He thought the grand gesture of flowers was the proof she needed, but she heard only silence where she needed action. At Love Threads, we don't just talk about relationships, we deconstruct them. We blend authentic, grounded insights with robust, evidence-based psychology, giving you the real intelligence on why we connect, why we sometimes misstep, and how to truly thrive when love feels like a constantly shifting landscape. Today, we're exploring one of the most fascinating patterns in human relationships: the languages of love. These aren't coincidences. They're not random bad timing. They're psychological and spiritual tests that reveal whether you're truly ready to cross the threshold from casual love into committed partnership. And understanding this pattern might be the key to finally choosing love that lasts. Imagine that familiar, sinking feeling. You're in a relationship that seems to have all the right pieces on the surface. You go out, you spend time together, you say the words, and you do the things you're supposed to do. But underneath it all, a quiet emptiness is growing. You feel a persistent, low-grade loneliness. It's the kind of ache that whispers to you in the middle of the night, asking, "Is this all there is?" It's the feeling of not being truly seen, of your deepest emotional needs going unspoken and unmet. This isn't a flaw in your character or a sign that you've chosen the wrong person. It's a fundamental miscommunication. A prominent expert on intimacy often speaks of a paradox. We can be in a long-term relationship and still be emotionally miles apart. The physical intimacy, the shared life, the day-to-day routine, it's all there. Yet an invisible distance grows, fueled by a fundamental misunderstanding of what truly makes each other feel loved. The love is there, but the language is wrong. This brings us to a crucial point about vulnerability. When your partner has just bought you a beautiful gift, or we never talk anymore after a weekend spent doing chores side by side. The other person hears your criticism and thinks, "But I did so much for you." Both people are loving, but they are speaking into the void, and that silence can feel deafening. This isn't a sign that your partner is a bad person. It's a sign that you both need to become fluent in each other's unique dialect of affection. The power in this lies in the shift from blame to understanding. It's no longer action. These are the anecdotal threads, the stories of real people navigating these invisible forces, showing how the love languages are the fundamental vocabulary of our hearts. Consider Maria and Chris. For Maria, love is spelled Time. After a demanding week at her job, all she craves is a Friday night where she and Chris can sit on the couch, put their phones away, and just talk. She fantasizes about the quiet intimacy of being fully present with him, sharing stories and dreams. Her emotional tank is filled by their uninterrupted connection. But Chris is a man of action. He loves Maria fiercely, and his language is acts of service. When he sees her stressed, his instinct is to do things. He'll spend Friday night cleaning the garage, organizing the kitchen, or fixing the leaky faucet she's complained about. He's working hard to make her life easier, and he sees it as the ultimate expression of his love. But to Maria, his busy, productive presence feels like a rejection. She wants him to stop doing and just be with her. They would often have a version of the same fight. She would accuse him of being emotionally unavailable, and he would counter that she was ungrateful for all his hard work. Both were loving, but neither was being loved in the way they needed. Then there is Sophia and Ben. Sophia's love language is words of affirmation. She thrives on compliments, on hearing that she is beautiful, smart, and valued. A sincere, "I'm so proud of you," can make her entire week. But Ben, her partner, speaks the language of physical touch. He is not verbally expressive. Instead, he shows his love through a hand on the small of her back as they walk, a gentle foot rub after a long day, or a reassuring hug when she's upset. He sees these small touches as a way of saying, "I'm here, I love you, you are safe." But Sophia, starved for verbal validation, would often question their relationship. "Do you even love me?" she would ask, feeling that his quiet touch wasn't enough to fill her emotional void. Ben would be baffled, his body language speaking a clear message that her ears couldn't hear. Their love was a beautiful dance, but they were doing it to two different songs. Finally, consider Daniel and Chloe. Daniel's love language is receiving gifts. He loves the thrill of finding the perfect thoughtful present for Chloe. A book from a rare bookseller he knew she wanted, a vintage piece of jewelry, or even her favorite snack from a store she loves. He sees these small, tangible items as symbols of his love and care. But Chloe's language is acts of service. She needed him to be a partner in their shared life. When the car needed new tires or the lawn needed mowing, she wanted him to step up and handle it. She didn't want a gift, she wanted a teammate. When her birthday came around, Daniel got her a beautiful, expensive necklace. While she thanked him, she felt a profound sense of disappointment. She thought to herself, "I don't need a necklace. I need a partner who will help me with the mountain of laundry I'm staring at." Daniel's thoughtful generosity felt hollow to her because it wasn't the kind of love she needed to feel supported and cared for. These are not stories of failed love. They are stories of love in translation. In each scenario, the partners are caring, but they are giving and receiving love in different currencies. The tension that arises is not because of a lack of love, but because of a lack of understanding. It is a powerful reminder that our intuition about how to love someone is often just a reflection of how we ourselves want to be loved. The ultimate pattern is to move beyond that and to consciously learn to speak a language that is not our own. Imperative. Our brains are wired for connection. We are social creatures, and our well-being is deeply tied to our bonds with others. But what happens when that wiring gets crossed? The concept of love languages isn't just a pop psychology trend. It's an elegant, accessible framework for understanding core psychological dynamics. It helps us see the different bids for connection that we make and how we can miss them if we're not paying attention. A bid for connection is any attempt to get a partner's attention, affection, or support. It can be as simple as pointing out a bird outside, or as significant as sharing a deep fear. When you understand your partner's love language, you become a master at recognizing these bids and responding to them in a way that truly resonates. This is deeply tied to the science of attachment. Our attachment hunger, our biological need to feel safe and connected, drives much of our behavior in relationships. When we feel a lack of connection, our nervous systems go into a state of protest. We might become clingy, demanding, or conversely, we might withdraw and shut down. When you learn to speak your partner's love language, you're not just being nice, you're calming their nervous system, reassuring their inner child, and meeting a fundamental human need. This even has a neurological basis. The love we feel and the satisfaction we get from a relationship are directly linked to the release of neurochemicals like dopamine and oxytocin. Dopamine is our reward chemical. It's what gives us that high, that feeling of elation when we're falling in love. But it also fuels our search for more. Oxytocin, on the other hand, is the cuddle hormone, released during physical touch and moments of deep connection. It's the neurochemical of trust, bonding, and security. When your love language is physical touch, a simple handhold releases oxytocin, creating a direct pathway to feeling loved and safe. When it's words of affirmation, a genuine compliment triggers dopamine, reinforcing the feeling of being seen and appreciated. If you're trying to connect through acts of service while your partner is craving quality time, you're missing the neurochemical loop that would cement your bond. Your well-meaning actions, which feel good to you, are not providing the emotional or neurological payoff for your partner. Let's explore each of these love languages and the psychological patterns behind them. 1. Words of affirmation. This isn't just about saying, I love you. It's about genuine, heartfelt compliments and appreciation. For the person who speaks this language, a simple note, a text that says, I was thinking about you, or a specific, sincere compliment about their character or actions can feel like a deep, validating embrace. For them, a critical or harsh word can be devastating, eroding their sense of safety and self-worth. It's tied to our need for validation and acceptance, a core part of building a strong identity. The psychology here is linked to the need for respect and recognition. A partner who masters this language helps their loved one feel seen and valued for who they are, not just for what they do. Examples. You were so brave standing up to your boss today. I admire your strength. I really love how you always make me laugh, even on a bad day. A handwritten note left in their lunch bag or on the bathroom mirror saying, you are my favorite person. 2. Acts of service. For some, love is spelled T-I-M-E, not just time spent together, but time spent doing things for them. It's the partner who takes your car for an oil change, who handles a stressful phone call to customer service, or who cooks you a meal after a long day. These actions aren't just chores, they are tangible proof of care. The psychology here is linked to our primal need for a safe, reliable partner. They're demonstrating that they have your back, that you are not alone in the world. When this person's need isn't met, they don't see a partner who is busy, they see a partner who doesn't care enough to help. It's a fundamental test of commitment and partnership. Examples: unloading the dishwasher without being asked, getting the groceries while the other person is working from home, taking the kids to school so their partner can sleep in, putting gas in their car before a long drive. Receiving gifts. This one is often misunderstood as materialism, but it's anything but. For someone who values gifts, it's not the monetary value that matters, but the thought and intention behind it. It's a symbolic act that says, you were on my mind. It's a tangible representation of love. The gift itself is a small piece of the giver's heart. This love language taps into a deep human need to feel valued and remembered. A forgotten birthday or anniversary is a profound wound, not because they wanted a present, but because they felt erased from their partner's mind. The gift acts as an anchor for a memory of love, a physical reminder that they are cherished. Examples: a small souvenir from a business trip, their favorite candy bar brought home unexpectedly, a beautiful plant for their office just because. Quality time. This love language is all about focused, undivided attention. It's not about being in the same room scrolling through social media. It's about making a love map of each other's internal worlds. It's a quiet dinner where you talk about your day, a long walk where you hold hands and share dreams, or a shared hobby where you're fully present. This speaks to our need for intimacy and emotional closeness, and the simple fact that our most valuable resource is time. For someone with this love language, a lack of dedicated time together feels like a lack of priority. They don't just want your presence, they want your full attention and engagement. Examples: a dedicated date night with no distractions, going for a walk together just to talk, cooking a meal together, both focused on the task and each other, simply sitting together fully present on a porch swing. 5. Physical touch. This is the most direct love language, rooted in our most primal need for connection. A gentle touch, a hug, a hand on the small of your back, a foot massage. These are not just physical sensations, they are a direct line to the nervous system, releasing oxytocin and reducing stress. This love language is about establishing a sense of safety and security. For someone whose primary language is touch, a lack of physical affection can lead to feelings of unloved, lonely, and disconnected. This is directly tied to the attachment theory that our bodies crave the physical comfort of another, just as a child needs a parent's embrace. It is a nonverbal language of reassurance and warmth. Examples: holding hands while walking, a lingering hug after a long day, cuddling on the couch while watching a movie, a gentle hand on their knee during a conversation. Understanding these languages is the first step in a conscious partnership. When we fail to communicate in the right language, we fall into negative cycles, where one partner protests, the other withdraws, and the core wound of feeling unloved is left to fester. The journey of love isn't about finding a perfect match, but about learning to translate. Threads of love languages is powerful, but knowledge without action is just information. The real work begins now. We can choose to harness this ultimate pattern consciously, turning a potential pitfall into a powerful opportunity for growth and deep connection. First, acknowledge the imprint. Your brain has created neural pathways for receiving love in a specific way based on your life experiences. These love memories don't erase, they transform. You don't have to erase the past, but you can learn to create a new, healthier future. A key concept here is that you can actively rewire your brain. A lot of modern healing practices focus on this, and the idea is simple. What you pay attention to and what you practice becomes a permanent part of your emotional landscape. This transformation starts with what we say to ourselves. Nonviolent self-talk is crucial. Instead of saying, "Why can't he ever just tell me I'm beautiful?" you can reframe it. Try something like, "My partner shows me love in a different way, and I can gently teach him how I receive love best. My worth isn't determined by his words, but by my own." This simple shift from accusation to self-compassion and understanding is the foundation of change. It moves you from a place of helplessness to a place of empowerment. Then you need to apply this understanding through practical, actionable steps. This isn't about grand gestures, it's about micro-actions, the small, seemingly insignificant moments that build trust and connection. 1. Learn their language, don't just recognize it. It's not enough to say, "Oh, my partner's love language is acts of service." You have to speak it fluently. For someone whose language is acts of service, you could make their coffee every morning, load the dishwasher without being asked, or run an errand for them. For someone who values words of affirmation, a simple text in the middle of the day saying, "Thinking about you, you're doing an amazing job," can completely shift their energy. The goal is to move from a place of intellectual knowledge to one of intuitive, embodied practice. It requires stepping outside of your own comfort zone to meet them where they are. 2. Translate your own needs. The most common mistake we make is assuming our partner knows what we need. We drop hints, we get frustrated, we sigh loudly, but that's not effective communication. You have to learn to ask for what you need directly, but gently. A boundary specialist would tell you that expressing your needs is a form of self-respect. Instead of, "You never spend time with me," try, "I would feel so loved if we could set aside some time this week, even just 20 minutes, to be completely focused on each other." This is a micro action for you and a clear request for them. You're offering them a roadmap to your heart, making it easy for them to succeed. This isn't a passive process. It's an active one that requires you to be clear about your own emotional needs. 3. The power of intentional listening. One of the most effective tools for building connection is active, intentional listening. This means listening not just to their words, but to the emotions and needs behind them. Listen for their love language. Is your partner complaining about a chore that needs to be done? That's an acts of service bid. Are they reminiscing about a trip you took together? That's a quality time bid. When you start listening for their language, their bids for connection become clear. A relationship expert would say that this kind of listening is what creates love maps, a deep understanding of your partner's inner world. It's an empathetic act that says, "I see you and I hear you." 4. Healing your inner child. Often, our primary love language is tied to a need that wasn't met in childhood. If you crave words of affirmation, it might be because you didn't receive enough praise or validation as a child. If you value physical touch, perhaps it's because affection was scarce. A prominent thought leader often taught. Section 4. Rewriting the narrative. Understanding the invisible threads of love languages is powerful, but knowledge without action is just information. The real work begins now. We can choose to harness this ultimate pattern consciously, turning a potential pitfall into a powerful opportunity for growth and deep connection. First, acknowledge the imprint. Your brain has created neural pathways for receiving love in a specific way based on your life experiences. These love memories don't erase, they transform. You don't have to erase the past, but you can learn to create a new, healthier future. A key concept here is that you can actively rewire your brain. A lot of modern healing practices focus on this, and the idea is simple. What you pay attention to and what you practice becomes a permanent part of your emotional landscape. This transformation starts with what we say to ourselves. Nonviolent self-talk is crucial. Instead of saying, "Why can't he ever just tell me I'm beautiful?" you can reframe it. Try something like, "My partner shows me love in a different way, and I can gently teach him how I receive love best. My worth isn't determined by his words, but by my own." This simple shift from accusation to self-compassion and understanding is the foundation of change. Conclusion. The ultimate pattern is not a trick. It's a natural alignment of emotional, psychological, and archetypal resonance. When understood and applied consciously, it allows you to cultivate lasting connection without sacrificing your autonomy or self-worth. The myth of the one is a beautiful but often damaging fairy tale. It suggests that if we just find the right person, love will be easy, effortless, and require no work. But the truth is, love is not a destination, it's a practice. It's a daily choice to show up, to learn, and to love with intention, but a beautiful, ongoing conversation. The greatest love stories are not about two perfect people who fell together, but about two imperfect people who learn to speak each other's language with grace and honesty. The true reward of this work is not just a better relationship with your partner, but a deeper, more compassionate relationship with yourself. When you understand how you receive and give love, you become the most powerful agent of change in your own life. You are no longer waiting for someone else to fill your emotional cup. You are learning to fill it yourself and to share the overflow. This is the end of this particular thread, but the journey of love is endless. The patterns are always there waiting to be seen. From the earliest moments of attraction to the quiet comforts of a long-term partnership, our relationships are a constant mirror for our own growth. The test is not whether someone stays, but whether you were able to learn from the encounter, to become a more complete, compassionate person for having experienced it. The true love story is the one you are writing with yourself, and every partnership is a chapter in that book. Have you noticed patterns that keep certain people connected to you? Share your insights below. Your story may help someone else understand the invisible dynamics of love. Now that you've explored all the love threads, stay tuned for our next series where we decode the subtle signals that predict long-term relationship success, even before he says, "I love you."